Welcome back to The Rising of the Shield Hero, Anime Review, Episode 18. My apologies for not doing this 2 days ago. I kind of forgot. I was actually in the middle of a Discord call, and I completely forgot to do this one. So, my fault. So here we're discussing, and this is a definite, the final episode of The Rising of the Shield Hero, Season 2. Though it is the 38th episode of the series, it is also the 13th episode of the entire season. It is called Flowers Offered in Recollection. Yep. That is literally what this episode is called. The best way to describe this episode, it's a series of stories. It kind of feels like something you would find in OVA, but it does expand upon some stuff. So you could say, yeah, usually the OVAs are usually for anime. You just bonus stuff, usually not necessarily important. This, you could say could be an OVA, but it's not listed as an OVA. It is definitely listed as the final episode of the season, yes. Now you might be asking, what are the stories this one? Well, we start off with, Nafumi, Risha, Raftalia, and Philo. Philo does this thing in this episode where a few times she tries to fly. Because she's a humber in the other world, she tries to fly in this world. Nope, can't do it because she uses a Philito. At one point, she tries to fly when she's trying to pull the cart to where the destination is. Basically, the destination is they're going to the place where the body of the spirit tortoise was. That's literally where they're going. And the various segments in here, there's like roughly about 4 stories in this one. The first one is simply set when the group was basically in Glass's world, except Philo was not with them at this point in time. This is probably when Raftalia was briefly traveling before he got separated. Simply put, it's a scene where you have the girls play dress up. Like, you have her dressed like, you have Raftalia dressed. This is when Raftalia was looking like a former little girl. Basically back to the way she was level 1 bit from early season 1. Puts on a geisha outfit, a maid outfit, basically a feudal era Japan style one. At one point we have Risha, Kusa, and Raftalia all put on some suits. And eventually they do sit on the very outfit for Raftalia. The outfit she actually wore before she disappeared and ended up with Glass and her group. It's an okay segment. Now, the next 2 things that's going to be discussed here is, there is a flashback, the other is a mild discussion. These are actually parodies of American stuff, mind you, yes. Now, the first one, I do know about this one because I've seen the movie. Simply put, the best way to describe this one is that you have Kuna doing a parody, or at least a homage to the 2001 film starring Tom Hanks, Castaway. Yeah, it's basically what she was doing prior to Nafumi arriving in the Infinite Labyrinth. Yeah. Where basically she gets food, has a ball that's former symbol to Wilson, and then eventually leaves in, it's her catching fish or her talking to herself, and she's able to survive there, no problem at all, and she tries to escape. Yeah, she actually does try to escape. She basically makes a rowboat, or at least most of a canoe, and she just rows straight to, trying to get away from them, but then there's a barrier. And this is just a hint of... Now, is this basically saying that this story is it canon? Yes, it is, because basically she actually is supposed to be there when Nafumi arrived with his group. That was the third story for you, and that's, like I just said, it's the show's take on Castaway. And then we have a Bing Crosby uh, a Bill Crosby spoof. What kind of spoof is it? Now, my dad told me this joke years ago related to Bill Crosby. Bill Crosby himself nowadays is not well respected due to the fact the guy was actually accused of rape. Yes. But this has happened years before this accusation came to light. There was a story of Bing Crosby's series where he was looking for his glasses. He asked his wife where they were because he couldn't find them, and she said, "Look on top of your head." And there they were. This is a very similar story to that, except basically you have Kyle. This is basically about Kyle. We're talking about fun with him, where he basically supposedly is pale in the face. He can't find his glasses, and he didn't realize they're actually on his face all this time. And no flashback surprise in this one. Just basically to talk about it. It's actually pretty good. And now I know the reference because my dad told me this. So, and it's from the Bill Crosby show. Now, people around my dad's age probably wouldn't know that reference. And the others, I know it because my dad told me about it. That's simply the best way to put it. And then, like, right after this, you actually have Kusha going to this location of Glass. And that's the last I see of her. Now, Glass, in case you're curious still, does she return to light novels after events of books 8 and 9? I think she does. Yes, I believe she does come back at some point. But immediately right after they leave, then the episode ends with basically you have Nafumi and his group finally arriving location, the place where the Spirisaurus died, and, well, offering flowers. And that's it. That's literally the episode. It's not a terrible episode per se, though I looked up a line. Apparently, this episode adapted from the epilogue of Book 9, and I read the epilogue. I'm like, no, it does not. Because I just reread the epilogue, Book 9. It is not adapted Book 9. That's a big fat lie. You could say maybe a version of it, basically, but stuff I saw, not really. But pretty good episode nonetheless. Not terrible. Very honest way to end the season with a good, basically happy episode. After what happened the last couple episodes, they basically need something like a breather. Something that doesn't feel rushed like the last few episodes of bed. But before I end this video here, instead of just like another video, do this. I'm going to do right here just so I can keep the episode count an even number. My final thoughts on the second season of The Rising of the Shield Hero. And yes, these are my final thoughts. Now, I enjoyed the story for this thing. The series progressed at a pretty quick pace. Not terrible per se. Except that the biggest problem with the season is that they adapt stuff too quickly. And also, early on, they were adapting stuff out of order. And then eventually they did stop doing that. And eventually adapted in order, mostly anyways. Though you could say that because of how long the chapters are and how much stuff was... Like, the stuff was cut was mostly... The best way to describe the stuff was cut was mostly, like, side stuff. Not really important, per se. But nothing really earth-shattering. Though, I do have to give the season some flack because they did rush through one book in 2 episodes. While in the case of Book 7... 7 had the best adaptation out of all 4 books that adapted the first season. 6 was basically they kind of rushed this book because they kind of already mostly adapted this book already with the finale of season 1, where they had already adapted mostly the first 12 first like 5 or 6 chapters. Though I would think they would have this one adapt the training arc that the series skipped over. But no! Oh, by the way, there's one thing I forgot to mention for the episode. There is a flashback that's sort of an addition on one of the episodes when Osha first showed up, where they talk about where Risha's getting embarrassed with something intimate and Raphael is talking about it. And the way that Philo basically understands it, it's it's like basically Osa giving advice to Ravtalia to have sex with Nafumi. That is literally what this conversation is. 4 women basically two adults and two kids talking about sex. That is literally what this scene is. You could say this is a mild reference to Second City, because that's a popular topic in that one. Women talking about sex. And it's very brief and doesn't really much go anywhere. Yep. Now, there is season 3 coming. That has been confirmed for quite a while. The problem is, no release date for it yet. Nope, none. Now, I do know this season was supposed to premiere back in October of last year. As a matter of fact, you watch the show, there's a copyright for 2021. That was because that was when the show was supposed to air. This is supposed to air back in October of last year. I have heard some stuff. Some say the reason why the season was delayed was because the studio was heavily focused on doing the second cour of Mashuka Tenshin Japanese Incarnation, Season 1. Though they did confirm season to come out next year, by the way. But that's why I heard the rumor was the reason why they delayed it. Though, at the time it would have come out, it would have been 2 years since the first season came out. But in the case of when that comes out now, it's been like 3 years since the previous season. Now, whenever they release season 3, I hope they don't wait 2 to 3 years to release it. 1 year is fine, but not for 2 to 3 years. It's stupid. Excuse me. It's not like in the case of something like ReZero, where of all the shows I watched, that would have 4 years between seasons. I have heard one of the shows come out this year. I think it's called The Devil's Part-Timer. Well, apparently the previous season aired 8 years ago, and now we're getting season 2. Yeah, studios are quite weird when it comes to adapting stuff based upon popular light novel series. Now, yes, they do in fact do some changes to these particular things. Fine, whatever. You can't exactly please the purists, but at least you can do a pretty decent adaptation, which these shows do in fact feel like pretty decent adaptations, at least Rise of Hero Season 1 did. I can't say much about Season 2 adaptation-wise. Yeah, but yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for Cycle View. Next up is going to be a comic corner. This is going to be quite unusual because not technically talking about trades. It's mostly issues from 2 different series. And in the video after that, hopefully we'll talk about the newest episode release for Recollection. Okay? Next video. Bye.